The glass walls of the 28th floor conference room in downtown Vancouver felt colder than usual that rainy afternoon. I stood there in my simple grey suit, holding a cardboard box with my few personal belongings, while my wife, the CEO of the company, looked at me with ice in her eyes. Her name was Meera Kapoor. At just 36, she had built Kapoor Dynamics, a fast-growing AI and logistics company, into a $780 million empire. And I was her husband of 7 years, and until 10 minutes ago, the head of operations. "You're fired, Vikram," she said coldly in front of the entire executive team. Her voice didn't even shake. "Effective immediately. Security will escort you out." I stared at her, trying to find even a trace of the woman I had married. The woman who once cried in my arms when the company was struggling. But that woman was gone. In her place stood a powerful CEO who had decided her husband was now a liability. "Why?" I asked quietly. Meera leaned back in her leather chair. "You're not performing at the level this company needs. Personal relationship cannot affect business decisions. You know how this works." The executive team looked away uncomfortably. No one dared to speak. I had worked day and night for this company for 6 years. I had sacrificed weekends, holidays, even my health. And now it was over, just like that. 2 hours later, the divorce papers were delivered to my apartment by her lawyer. No discussion. No explanation. Just a cold legal notice ending our 7-year marriage. That night, I sat alone in my small one-bedroom apartment in Surrey, staring at the rain hitting the window. Everything I had built with her was gone. My job, my marriage, my dignity, all taken in a single day. I picked up my phone. My hands were shaking. There was only one person I could call right now, someone I hadn't contacted in almost 9 years. I dialed the number. It rang 3 times. Then a deep, familiar voice answered. "Vikram, is that really you?" I swallowed hard and said, "Uncle, I need your help." On the other end, there was a long pause. Then he replied, "Come to my office tomorrow morning. 9 a.m. sharp. And Vikram, whatever happened, we will handle it." I didn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the one call I had just made, a call that could either save me or destroy whatever little was left of my life. Because the man I had called was not an ordinary person. He was someone very few people in Canada knew about. And almost no one knew about my connection to him. The next morning, I reached the private office building in downtown Vancouver at exactly 8:45 a.m. It looked like any normal corporate tower from the outside, but I knew what was hidden inside. I took the private elevator to the 32nd floor. When the doors opened, an older man in his late 60s was already waiting for me. "Vikram Beta," said Raghav Malhotra, "my late father's best friend and one of the most powerful silent investors in North America." He hugged me tightly. "Sit down. Tell me everything." I told him the whole story, how Meera had fired me publicly, how she sent divorce papers without any discussion, how she had slowly pushed me out of important decisions in the last 2 years as the company grew bigger. Uncle Raghav listened quietly, his face calm but his eyes sharp. When I finished, he leaned forward. "Do you want revenge?" he asked directly. I shook my head. "I just want my dignity back, Uncle. And I want to understand why she did this to me." He smiled slightly. "Sometimes both come together. Now listen carefully." What he told me next shook me to the core. 2 years ago, Meera came to me for investment. I refused because I didn't like some of the people she was partnering with. Instead of accepting my refusal, she started using your name and connection to me to get other investors. She told them I was secretly backing the company through you. I felt a sharp pain in my chest. She used my name. Uncle Raghav nodded. "Not only that, she has been involved in some risky financial moves that could bring serious trouble if exposed. I have been watching quietly because of you. But now, things have gone too far." He slid a thick file across the table towards me. "Inside this file is everything: bank records, secret partnerships, and proof of how she has been slowly transferring major shares and profits into accounts controlled by her and her new business partner." I opened the file with trembling hands. The more I read, the more shocked I became. Meera had not just left me. She had planned this for a long time. Uncle Raghav placed his hand on my shoulder. "I can destroy her company in 1 week if you want. But I want you to make this decision. Not out of anger, but with a calm mind. I closed the file and looked at him. I don't want to destroy her, Uncle. But I also cannot let her think she can treat people like this and get away with it. He smiled. Good. Then we will do it the right way. But first, you need to become stronger than you ever were. That same evening, I received a call from Meera. Her voice was cold and arrogant. I heard you met Raghav Malhotra. Don't think he can save you, Vikram. Stay away from my company or I will make sure you never work in this industry again. I listened to her threats quietly. Then I said only one sentence before ending the call. Meera, you made one mistake. You thought I had no one. But I just made one call. She laughed on the other side. One call. Please. You are finished. But she had no idea. She had no idea what was about to happen. The days that followed were the most intense of my life. Uncle Raghav didn't waste any time. Within 48 hours, he had quietly brought together a small but extremely powerful team of lawyers, financial experts, and investigators. I was no longer the broken man Meera had thrown out of the company. Every morning I spent long hours learning, understanding, and preparing. For the first time in years, I wasn't working for someone else's dream. I was building my own. On the fourth day, Meera called me again. This time her voice had a slight edge of worry. Vikram, whatever game you think you're playing, stop it. I have board meetings this week. Don't create unnecessary drama. I replied calmly, Meera, I'm not creating drama. I'm simply taking back what belongs to me, my dignity and my rightful share. She laughed nervously. Rightful share? You were just an employee. I made you head of operations out of pity. Don't forget that. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept remembering our early days, how we had started the company together in a small office with just 4 people, how she used to hold my hand and say, we will build this together, Vikram. Somewhere along the way, success had changed her. Or maybe it had revealed who she truly was. On the 6th day, Uncle Raghav called me to his office. It's time, he said. We are calling an emergency board meeting tomorrow. You will attend as a major shareholder. I was shocked. Shareholder? How? He smiled. When Meera used your name to get investments, some of those investors were actually my people. Over the last 2 years, we have quietly acquired 38% shares in the company. Combined with your original founder shares that she tried to dilute, you now hold significant power. The next morning, when I walked into the same conference room where Meera had fired me, the atmosphere was completely different. Meera was sitting at the head of the table, confident as always. But when she saw me walk in with Uncle Raghav, her face turned white. What is this? She demanded, standing up suddenly. Vikram has no right to be here. He is fired. Uncle Raghav spoke in a calm but authoritative voice. Actually, Meera, Vikram is here as a major shareholder. And we have called this meeting to discuss serious financial irregularities in the company. For the next 2 hours, the team presented all the evidence, secret accounts, questionable partnerships, and how Meera had been misusing company funds for personal benefits. Meera tried to fight back. She shouted, she threatened, she even tried to blame everything on me. But the evidence was too strong. By the end of the meeting, the board had voted to suspend her as CEO immediately. As I was leaving the room, Meera blocked my way. Her eyes were red with anger and tears. You did all this just to take revenge, she whispered. I looked at her and said softly, No, Meera. I did this because you taught me that love should never be one-sided, and respect should never be taken for granted. You fired me. You divorced me. But the biggest mistake you made was thinking I would stay broken forever. She stood there speechless as I walked out. But this was not the end. The real storm was still coming. The news spread like wildfire in the Canadian business community. Meera Kapoor suspended as CEO of Kapoor Dynamics. The headlines were everywhere. In just 1 week, the woman who had fired me so ruthlessly was now fighting for her own position. But I didn't celebrate. I felt only a strange kind of emptiness. 2 days after the board meeting, Meera came to my apartment unannounced. She looked completely different. No designer clothes, no makeup, just a simple salwar kameez and tired eyes. For the first time in years, she looked like the woman I had fallen in love with. She stood at the door and said quietly, "Can I come in?" I let her in. We sat in the small living room in silence for a long time. "I lost everything, Vikram," she finally whispered. "The board wants to remove me completely. Investors are pulling out. My new partner left me the moment things got difficult." I looked at her without anger. "You didn't lose everything because of me, Meera. You lost it the day you started treating people as disposable." Tears rolled down her cheeks. I was scared. The company was growing so fast. I thought if I kept you close, people would say I was weak, that I was running it because of my husband. So I pushed you away. I convinced myself that success was more important than our marriage. She looked down at her hands. I was wrong. Terribly wrong. I remained silent. After 7 years of marriage and 1 week of war, this was the first time she was accepting her mistakes. She continued, "I don't expect you to forgive me. But please, don't destroy the company. Many families depend on it. If it falls, hundreds of people will lose their jobs." I took a deep breath. "I never wanted to destroy the company, Meera. I only wanted you to understand what you did to me." That night, after she left, I made another call to Uncle Raghav. "Uncle, I don't want to take over the company. I want to give Meera one last chance to fix things, but under strict conditions and new management." He was quiet for a moment, then said, "You have a big heart, Vikram. Bigger than she deserves. But this is your decision." The next morning, I sent Meera a detailed proposal through lawyers. She could remain on the board but with limited powers. Professional management would be brought in, and I would take a silent advisory role with significant equity. She accepted the offer the same day. But the real twist came 1 month later. I was working from home when I received a call from the new CEO. His voice was shaking. "Vikram, sir, we just received information. Meera has been secretly negotiating to sell her remaining shares to a foreign competitor. She is planning to leave the country." I closed my eyes. Even after everything, after losing everything, she had not changed. I made one final call that day. This time, it was to Meera. When she picked up, I said only 4 words. "You never learn, do you?" I stood on the balcony of my new apartment overlooking the Vancouver skyline, the city lights shimmering in the rain. 1 month had passed since that last call to Meera. The company was now stable under new professional management. I had chosen not to take any executive position. I wanted to build something of my own, something clean, something honest. Meera eventually left the country. She sold her remaining shares and moved to Singapore. She never contacted me again. Sometimes I wonder if she ever truly understood what she had lost. One quiet evening, Uncle Raghav came to visit me. We sat together drinking tea like old times. "You did the right thing, Beta," he said. "You won without becoming like her." I smiled faintly. "I don't feel like I won, Uncle. I just feel free." He placed his hand on my shoulder. "That is the real victory. When you no longer need revenge to feel alive." A few days later, I received a letter from Meera. It was short and handwritten. "Vikram. I was blind. Success made me arrogant. I hurt the only person who truly stood by me when no one else did. I hope one day you can forgive me. Not for me, but for your own peace. Meera." I read the letter twice, then folded it and kept it in the drawer. I didn't reply. Some chapters are better left closed. Today, I run my own small but growing AI consulting firm. I work with honest people. I take time off. I breathe. And most importantly, I have started living again. Moral of the story: never let anyone, not even the person you love most, make you forget your own worth. Success is temporary, but self-respect is permanent. When someone shows you who they really are, believe them the first time. And remember, sometimes your greatest comeback starts with just one call, a call to your own dignity, to your inner strength, and to the people who truly value you. If you are going through betrayal, separation, or humiliation right now, hold on. Work in silence. Build quietly. Stay respectful. Your time will come. And when it does, the same people who broke you will watch you rise. Thank you for watching till the end. If this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Drop your own experience in the comments. What would you have done in Vikram's place? Your one comment might give strength to someone else going through the same pain.